could only think of 4 major things, not 5.
Oh, did you want to start with your list right away then?
But we don't have to. I actually just got a bit of news that I'm still processing.
Oh,
They're making me district manager at the store, and I'd be the youngest one ever, so.
that must be validating,
Yeah.
isn't it?
No, it is, yeah, it's good. It'll mean more responsibility, which is fine, and it's higher pay for something that's pretty much a, glorified version of what I've already been doing, just on a larger scale. But I don't know, my first thought was more, my coworkers already don't really like me, and now I'm gonna be,
You say that a lot, that they don't like you.
what's to like, I'm not saying there's nothing to like about me. I'm not actively unlikable, I hope. But they all go out for drinks together. They have all these inside jokes.
Would you ever think about joining them for drinks?
You and I talked about that, but it's not really for me, the drinking.
And might they accept it if you explain that to them? Then you could still join if the social element is important to you.
I wouldn't even know what to talk to them about outside of work. The stuff they like, the music they listen to, or the shows they watch growing up, or even other things, the things they prize as important. I don't connect with any of it. I couldn't describe their values. Not that I can necessarily describe all of mine. And there are things about me that I like, but I don't think they can see them. Sometimes when I'm, when it's a long shift and I'm tired, I start to think, and again, I'm exhausted when I'm thinking this. I acknowledge that it's idiotic, but I do start to imagine what would happen if someone came into our store with a gun or something.
What would happen? As in,
Not that it'd be me with the gun.
okay.
Sorry, no. I mean, if someone else came into the store, some kind of bad person, if he came into the store and he had a gun, I think I'd find a way to stop him. I don't really think that, but when I'm tired, I kind of do.
And then what?
Then, I don't know, my coworkers would see that, whatever that is. It's idiotic, I told you.
No, that kind of thinking isn't uncommon.
Well, either way. Can we do the list now?
Of course.
Okay, so number 1, I want to force myself to read more. When I was younger, I had this hunger to read, but now it's different when you can do something whenever you want to. Number 2, which is connected to 1, I'd like to start thinking about, seriously looking at getting a college degree. It's been way too long since my GED.
You've talked about that before.
Oh yeah, I never stop. 3rd, I really should have already gotten my driver's license. I know we've talked about the overstimulation issue with the lights in the cars and everything. I like to travel more. That's number 4, which is obviously reliant on 3. But I don't know what it is. With all of this stuff, there's a lack of spark.
Spark.
Yeah. When I was young, everything had a built-in purpose. You worked hard, why? To glorify God Almighty, easy. Now that I'm an atheist, it's more of a challenge to, so maybe number 5 then would be to find that spark, that purpose.
Those are all great goals. It'll be 7 years this month since you left Willems, right?
Yeah, I guess it would be 7 years in the land of the living.
Any feelings coming up about that?
I mean, I think of myself as functionally an orphan, right? When I try and get back into it and think about it, I just get angry again. I was raised in an abusive cult. People I loved who I thought loved me did some really fucked up things to me. I can accept all that now.
Well, it's been a long journey to get there, and you're probably sick of hearing it, but healing doesn't have to be linear.
And even if I could go back to Willems, there's really only one person I'd want to see again and talk to, because he's honestly too good for them. He's probably too good for me too.
You're talking about Amos?
Amos, yeah. And who knows? He might not even be there anymore, but Besides him, my father, my sister, Miriam betrayed me. I kind of have to laugh when I hear about other twins who share some sort of extra sensory thing. We definitely never had any of that. And my father, he sat back and let it all happen. They're brainwashed. That's what religion does to people, all that senseless martyrdom stuff.
What about Arletta?
Yeah, well, for whatever reason, she went completely out of her way to ruin my life. And the response from others, it really is laughable to excommunicate over literally just saying what was. But I'm out now, which is good. So, in a way, I should be thanking Arletta for being such a twisted fucking whatever. But this is what I've said. I've got it square in my head, and it doesn't do anything for me to drag it back out. God fucking damn it.
So it sounds like it's something you understand, but that doesn't make it any less unfair or hurtful. Was there anything else on that topic?
Please, no.
All right. How about your medication? Still working for you?
Yeah,
Not dulling you too much?
maybe a little bit, but I don't mind the dullness.
Well, let me know. I can set up a consult if you want to go back to the previous dosage. How are things with Nicole?
No complaints. I mean, when you and I talked about the what is it, the concept of codependency, I think that's probably true, that sure, she lost a son, I lost what I lost. I'm not unaware of all of that, so I'm keeping an eye on it, but I wouldn't say our dynamic is actively unhealthy or anything. Does that make sense?
That's a determination you have to make. There is one other thing I think we need to revisit. It's not pleasant to discuss, but are you still having those feelings when you ejaculate? The suicidal ideation?
I shouldn't have. Whatever kind of fleeting moment there is, I overstated it. There's no danger.
Still, it's...
The thing is, I'm so afraid of dying, really. And the fear, it's enough to make me never want to act on. Growing up, I was taught to be afraid of hell, but I never really was, unlike Miriam. Because to me, that's not the scary thing, the burning. The scary thing is the nothingness. Anyway, what I'm saying is there's no way some slight impulse like that is ever actually going to cause me to, the two things cancel each other out. But maybe that sounds ridiculous.
Gideon clears his throat and sips water.
And I know you're not going to like that.
You're right. I'm not gonna like that.
Well, I'm still not explaining it well. Let me try again.
End of scene. Scene 2. Auburn and Gideon's apartment that afternoon. Gideon is playing a video game while listening to a left-leaning podcast. On the table in front of him, weed paraphernalia and tarot cards. Auburn enters. Gideon pauses the podcast.
Hey, Nicole.
You end up going after all?
I did. Yeah. How was work?
That new manager's an asshole. Telling me my job when I've been waiting tables for 25 years. Do you think we can talk for a second?
Sure.
Can you pause?
It's not one. You can pause.
There's a letter for you. From Willems.
Great. I just fucking died.
He throws the controller in frustration.
You want me to throw it away?
How the hell did they even find me?
There was an old client of mine from, before he reached out.
He was a Wilmite?
Yeah, Scott.
I never knew any Scots in Willems.
Well, I don't know.
Oh God, it's from Miriam.
Would you like me to open it for you?
No. Shit, okay.
You don't gotta read it right away.
It starts, dearest brother.
Oh, please. You know, I can start on dinner if you want to be, What is it?
Arletta.
That psycho bitch?
Yes, her. It says she died.
What? How?
Doesn't say. Doesn't say. Oh, sorry, I think I'm just surprised.
Why has your sister gotta go telling you this anyway? You don't need to know.
She's inviting me to the funeral on Friday. Apparently, Arletta requested it. The whole friend group.
I knew I shouldn't have showed you. I'm sorry. Just forget all about it, alright?
Gideon sits, staring at the TV screen.
Let's go out. We can get some chilies or something. Get your shoes on. Come on, sweet boy.
I mean, I can't go, right?
To the funeral? Hell no, and you shouldn't.
Only, there is one thing, someone I should check on.
You're not going back there, Gideon, not ever.
Why not?
Because they're crazy? Because they hurt you? All you ever did was tell the truth about what that psycho was up to, and they kicked you out over it.
Yeah, I know.
You were just a kid. You were just now finally getting out from under all of that.
I know, but I'm out now. They can't do anything to me anymore.
All right, come here, baby. Come here.
She sits next to him, puts his head on her chest, and runs her fingers through his hair.
You're just upset. That's all. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, it'll pass. You got everything you need, right?
She begins stroking him through his pants.
You're good. Baby, remember, every part of you. You are so good.
Gideon breaks free
Stop.
and moves away.
Stop, I can't do that right now.
I'm only trying.
Well, don't.
I don't believe this. You're not really thinking about this.
I'm saying maybe it would be good, Nicole. They have nothing over me anymore.
Why you gotta go to Arletta's funeral anyway? What's she to you now?
Don't talk about her. Sorry, it's not about her anyway.
Gideon, baby, if they trick you into going back there, it won't be good. You gotta trust me. I can feel it. If you go to Willems, I'm not sure you'll come back.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Why would I? There's nothing I want from there.
Why go?
Because of Amos. I need to know if he's still in there.
Fine. And I'm coming with you.
Absolutely not.
Oh! Now what's that about? Why wouldn't you want me there?
They wouldn't even let you in.
Because you're ashamed. That's why still. They are still working you over from the inside all these years later. And you can't go back to them, Gideon. You can't let them win.
I won't, I promise, okay? I'm going to the funeral, and the next day, I'm coming home. And I might not be coming back alone.
End of scene. Scene 3. The Elders' Council. Brother Von Farm sits alone. Brother Garber enters.
Brother Von Farn, I must speak with you urgently.
Yes,
A letter has gone out, a letter to Gideon Bowman inviting him back to Willems.
sit down, brother. We'll talk when everyone's here.
No, I want solidarity with you before.
The letter only invited Gideon back for the funeral, right? In keeping with Arletta's wishes.
But having him back here, it's too dangerous. There's no telling the chaos he'll bring. That week, he was excommunicated. It was the same week as your barn fire, remember?
I do.
It is clear to me now that it was Gideon who set the fire.
No, that's not right. Amos Jr. did it by accident. He told me a year later.
Then perhaps it was under Gideon's influence. Last thing Willems need right now is another silver-tongued bowman.
Miriam enters. Her posture is much improved. She's pushing a wooden wheelchair containing clay.
Hello, Sister Bowman, Brother Bowman.
Good. You're both here already. I know how your pains make punctuality difficult for you, Brother Garber.
Brother Garber sits, wincing in pain. Miriam wheels Clay to the table and stands next to him, holding his right hand.
Are we all aware of the letter that was sent out?
Yes,
Of course.
I confess that my spirit is most troubled, Brother Bowman. I'm not sure Gideon returning is what's right for Willems.
Father, do you think the letter should have been sent? He squeezed my hand, yes. Do you think 7 years is long enough for us to give him another chance? Yes, again.
I respect your position, Brother Bowman, but who knows what we're inviting into our community? What new beliefs or perversions might Gideon have adopted? He may return as an insurgent. I fear your judgment is clouded.
Father, are his fears about your judgment, well, clouded? He doesn't think so. Father, would you remind Brother Garber to maintain a spirit of forgiveness? He would. I'm reminded of one of my father's favorite verses, Luke 6:37. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall
Forgiveness is not the issue here. Gideon is divisive. Willems is in the midst of grieving. We need unity.
Father, do you agree with him? He agrees, Brother Garber. We do need unity.
Well, good. Thank you, brother.
However, my concern is that what's keeping us from unity is you.
Me?
After careful deliberation, my father believes Gideon should return. Brother Von Farn already showed his spirit of unity when he used his connections in the city to put us into contact with Gideon. So the only holdout here is you.
Amos?
It's what Arletta wanted, Conrad.
Allow me to read an old passage from one of my father's journals. On unity. Brother Garber has moved to forbid the color red, like many of our Anabaptist brethren. Some feel it is ostentatious and in conflict with our spirit of plainness. Garber goes further, claiming it is the devil's color. I expect Brother Von Farn will go with the tide on this issue, while Brother Stalter will be preoccupied with his divinations. But I find myself asking how a color that appears in nature, one that the Lord has given us, cones in our eyes to see, can truly be evil. I see no biblical basis for this claim. I fear we have crossed into the realm of superstition. Still, I believe in the power of unity.
I can read, girl.
Miriam continues, reciting from memory.
Unity requires sacrifices from all of us. Our bodily sacrifices are obvious, but what of our intellectual sacrifices? Do these thoughts of mine betray a spirit not fully surrendered to the Lord's will? I will do my best to remain open to his urgings. For now, in the name of unity, I will stand by my brothers. These are the words of my father.
Yes, I see it all right here.
7 years ago, you told my father that his spirit of self-sacrifice would be remembered. Well, here we are. Where is this remembrance? We know how your body has declined in recent years. Does your memory fail you as well?
I'll remind you, Miriam, we'll allow you into these meetings as a courtesy, and your father's sacrifice was shunning Gideon in the first place.
And he has shunned him. He's gone 7 years without the joy of seeing his son's face or hearing his voice. I'll remind you, brother, this was a sacrifice you yourself failed to make when it was your daughter in the same position 3 years later.
That was different. My daughter
Do you recall
never...
Proverbs 22:6? Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Wherever he is, whatever has happened, it is my strong belief, our strong belief, that Gideon is still in the faith. Yet you seem to have given up on his salvation, even though the Lord promised us that a child raised correctly would not fall away from him in the end. Tell me then, do you think my father, a man you claim to respect, did not raise Gideon correctly? Or worse, do you name God a liar? Well,
It won't be for long. Remember Arletta, she's who we should be thinking of.
I agree. And I'd hate to see you defy our late sister's wishes, brother. Is it possible Arletta's spirit would seek vengeance? Such things remain a mystery to us in this life, yet you treat them rather carelessly.
I I confess I hadn't thought of that. Well, I suppose if it's only for the funeral.
Excellent. Well, this will serve us well as a trial period.
Try it.
I move that we table the issue for now. Gideon, like Dottie, may return in keeping with Arletta's wishes. I, for one, will be happy to see them. Those who wish to continue shunning them can.
Father, do you think that Brother Garber owes you an apology? I'm afraid he does.
I meant no offense, Brother Bowman.
That's not an apology. You questioned his judgment. You insulted his parenting. You accused him of disunity when in fact it was you standing in the way. You questioned his spirit of sacrifice when you, in his same position, refused to shun your own child. Will you shun Dottie at the funeral? Or do these standards of yours only apply to my father? Can you not see what you've done here today, Brother Garber? Does your pride blind you so? Is your heart so hardened?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry.
Take my father's hands.
Brother Von Farn takes Clay's left hand, while Miriam takes Brother Garber in his right.
Let us pray then, as one.
End of scene. Scene 4, the Bowman house, late morning. Miriam is setting breakfast for 3. She places a large bowl of oatmeal on the table and adjusts the chairs nervously.
He will be here any minute.
A clattering from the other room. Amos enters wearing an apron, carrying 3 bowls and silverware. Amos is heavier and sports a patchy beard.
Set them down.
Like this?
No. This bowl was his and this was his seat. And I sat here and father sat here. Oh, or maybe like this.
Looks great.
He is so late. We'll only have a couple of hours with him before the service.
Everything will be fine.
Check if you can see him coming.
Amos goes to the door and opens it, revealing Gideon.
Amos, you're here.
Welcome home, brother. What a blessed day the Lord has granted us.
Gideon.
Sister.
A blessed, blessed day.
Look at you. Look at us.
They took my things.
Who did?
Brother Garber, some of the others. They ambushed me as soon as I got out of the Uber. All I have is what's in my pockets. They confiscated my bag, my medication's in there.
Oh, goodness, that wasn't right.
That old fool. I'm sorry, brother. We'll get them back as soon as possible.
Wow.
Does the house feel smaller? It does to me.
Bigger, actually.
Oh, well, come and sit. Amos made breakfast.
I wish I'd known I had a breakfast taco on the way here.
Oh. Well, that's all right. Do you mind if we eat?
Nope, not at all.
Thanks. Oh, I've been so tired lately. I need the fuel. Did you not set the serving spoon?
It's always something. You know, someone was very anxious to see you.
Well, of course I was. Okay, and there is so much I want to ask. How are you? Oh goodness, what are you? Tell me everything.
Well, I work at Grand Grains. It's a grocery store. The Von Farns used to sell to them. They're about to promote me, actually.
Incredible. Well, you always did show such promise. What else? Are you, I'm actually not sure what they call it on the outside. Courting anyone?
No, not really.
What church are you going to? Knowing you, you're probably a minister somewhere.
No, not a minister. But church, sure, yeah. First Presbyterian, actually. And Amos, seeing you is overwhelming.
Yes, it blesses us as well. I only wish it were a happier occasion.
What happened with Arletta? I mean, how did she die?
No one really knows. In the last few years, she'd gotten, how would you describe it?
Distant.
Yeah, sometimes she'd go missing for hours at a time, and she didn't look well.
Okay, but what happened?
The Lord called Arletta home. It's sad, but we trust in His preeminence.
Well, much has changed since you left, brother. Well, there are things you should know. Amos is... Oh, this is so strange.
It's all right. Gideon, me and Miriam are married now.
Fuck off. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Believe me, we were surprised as you are.
In your absence, the Lord brought us together. We found comfort in one another.
I don't know what to say. Congratulations, I guess.
You knew how we wished for you at the wedding.
Here, here.
What did Father think? Is he here?
Father's resting in the other room. You should know he's ailing, Gideon. It started soon after you left.
Ailing, what does that mean?
One day when he was out working, he had a fall.
We think maybe he was struck by lightning, but we're not sure.
Oh my God, is he okay?
We're taking care of him.
Well, I want to see him.
All right, let me check on him first. I'll bring him out if he's awake.
What do you mean you think he was struck by lightning? You didn't take him to a doctor?
Miriam felt it would be against his wishes.
She felt it? What? Was he not?
Don't worry, you couldn't ask for a better caregiver than Miriam.
Yes, I absolutely could, Amos.
Miriam enters, wheeling in Clay.
Jesus Christ. Father.
Gideon goes to Clay. He kneels down in front of him and looks him in the eye.
What's that? What's he doing?
I don't know.
It's okay, it's me. Hey, I'm here.
Well, isn't that something? He hasn't made a sound in nearly 7 years.
End of scene. Scene 5, inside the church, noon of that same day, Arletta's funeral service. Arletta's casket is beautiful with blue ribbons. Amos speaks from the pulpit.
What can we say about Arletta Hope Stalter? She was beautiful, a beautiful, vibrant member of our community. She touched each of us and all of us in so many ways. In my time as minister, we've seen many in our community leave this life. But it's always extra hard when it is someone so young. I have so many memories of growing alongside Arletta. She didn't always talk as much as the rest of us, but the rest of us made up for talking about her. All the boys in Willems had a crush on Arletta, myself included. We all know that Arletta had her struggles in her final years. Now the Lord has called her to his comfort. We praise him for his mercy and trust in his judgment. Let us never forget Arletta's radiance, nor the spark she brought to Willems, and this is a goodbye. We will meet her again in God's kingdom. What more needs to be said?
Scene 6, the church after the ceremony. The doors of the church are open, with stage left leading off stage and stage right leading to an outdoor area. Dottie is hovering between groups, awkwardly. She has a pixie haircut, a septum piercing, and wears a tasteful but non-plain dress. She walks up to Brother Garber.
Dad?
Dottie walks off stage, stage right.
Was that Dottie?
I'm exhausted. I'm taking Father home. Don't stay out too long, Amos.
Of course. Amos, I need to talk to you alone.
Of course, Gideon. We'll find time. I should offer Sister Stalter some words.
Welcome back, Gideon. You're looking trim. Shadow of your former self.
Hello, Mr. Von Farn.
Surely you can call me Amos Sr. by now. I heard about the business with Brother Garber. Try not to let that old fart bother you too much. He's just chapped because of Miriam. She sits in on all the elders' meetings, you know.
Really?
Oh, yes. She's a real bat out of hell, but it's kind of fun watching her go to work. Anyway, good to have you back. You can stay as long as you want, as far as I'm concerned.
Gideon, I'd have known you anywhere.
Ruth?
left some notes. This one was for you. I promise I didn't read it. And I have something else for you to look at, if you don't mind.
What is it? It looks like Morse code.
Yeah, that's right. It's an old message from Arletta to Dottie from back when you were all still in school with me. I found it when I was going through things. The two of them told me it said something about their assignment, but it doesn't. Brother Von Farn helped me to translate it. What it really says is, Gideon is getting fat.
Oh.
You know what this means, don't you? She was thinking about you.
Okay.
I think you were right, Gideon. I think she always loved you, just like I always loved you. It's just what I always wanted, but she never shared it with me. Why wouldn't she share it?
I don't know.
Oh. I thought maybe you would. When I look at this now, you can't help but think, did I ever really know her?
I don't know, Ruth.
All I ever wanted was to know her. I worked so hard to. Now she's gone and I don't know if I ever did. It's the worst thing I can imagine.
Come on, let's get you home.
My baby. My beautiful baby.
Disturbed, Gideon walks outside. Dottie's there too, holding a cigarette, but Gideon doesn't notice her.
Hey Gideon.
Dottie, hi.
You don't happen to have a light, do you?
Gideon blinks, confused. Dottie holds up her cigarette. Gideon pulls out a lighter and hands it to Dottie.
It's good to see you.
Really? Got any extra?
She hands him a cigarette and he lights it.
I really shouldn't be smoking. It's bad for my teeth.
So clearly you're not a Willamite anymore.
Everyone here hates me now. Can't stand it. And now I'm smoking, which makes it even worse, but I'm going crazy. My father won't speak to me.
I'm sorry. My father can't speak to me.
I'm starting to.
Why'd you leave? Of all people.
Well, it was this whole stupid thing. Amos and I courted for a little, and I started tagging along when he and his dad went to town. And when I was there, I grabbed some stuff for my teeth. Toothpaste, mouthwash, and it helped me. But then my parents raided my room, and my mother was really upset. Only her and God could heal people, I guess. Most of Willem shunned me. Father didn't want to, but I guess Mother wore him down. After that, I went and lived with our cousins. They're Mennonites, and way, way less strict.
Gideon points to her septum piercing.
I guess so, if they allow that.
Oh, they don't. I'm not in a Baptist anymore.
Oh, good for you. Christianity's a pathology.
Anyway, I've only been back here for this and my mother's funeral a couple of years ago.
Your mother died. I didn't know.
Yeah. She got some sinus infection or something, so she made some new magic potion for it, and they killed her.
God.
Yeah. So Amos married Mary?
It makes no sense. I always thought you and Amos would, you know.
Me too. Me and him did some bed courting. We'd stay up all night talking, but we really didn't click like that. He mostly talked about you. Then there was this time I caught him trying on my shoes.
Really?
Yep. The only time I ever saw him cry.
Holy shit. God, his sermon, that was hard to sit through. It's like this place ate him alive.
What's that?
It's from Arletta.
Oh my god. What's it say? You don't have to tell me.
It says, it was the only way. Understand?
What was the only way?
No fucking idea. Do you know what happened to her? I mean, no one will tell me anything.
Me neither. But I know that sometimes she used to paint when she was feeling bad.
What, use it how?
Like she'd breathe it. You didn't come to the viewing.
No, I couldn't.
Well, her skin. They tried to cover it up, but it was blue.
Jesus fuck. Well, she must have known it was coming if she asked for us, right?
Maybe.
Do you think that's what her note means? I mean, if anyone would know, it would be you.
I'm not sure. She and I weren't that close anymore by the time I left. Kind of felt different about things after what happened to you.
Yeah, after you realized she was a psychopath.
Arletta wasn't a psychopath. She cared for me. She cared for me.
Well, whatever you want to call it, she ruined my life on purpose.
I don't think it was on purpose. She didn't plan ahead like that. She didn't see reality like most people.
That's an understatement.
When we were kids, I thought Arletta was the coolest girl in the world. And all the silly stuff she'd say to you. The Dirk Willems stuff and everything. I thought it was just fun.
Yeah, it wasn't fun for me.
Sorry. Didn't understand at the time. Then as we got older, her talk about all the martyrs started getting weird. Like, I think she found it sexy or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that she lied to everyone, that she lied to me, and got me kicked out of my home.
I'm not sure I'd say she lied.
Are you kidding me? She did, Dottie.
This one time, Arletta and I were making dinner in the kitchen with her mom. We were probably like 14. Arletta and I wanted to go to charades that night, but we knew her mom wouldn't let her if she'd find any excuse at all. So we were being extra good. Then Arletta accidentally spilled hot oil all over her arm. Her mom's back was turned when it happened. There's no way she would have let Arletta go to the game if she knew. I remember seeing Arletta freeze when the oil hit her skin, then walk to the sink and rinse off her arm without making a sound. It must have hurt like crazy, but she was so calm. The next day, Arletta had these awful red blotches all down her hand and arm.
I think maybe I remember red blotches.
Her mom freaked out when she saw them, of course, but Arletta didn't know it happened.
Right, she lied.
No, Gideon, what I'm saying is she really didn't know.
I don't understand.
I don't know if I did either. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow.
You're braver than me. Couldn't stay the night. I guess I'll probably never be back here. It's nice talking to you, Gideon. You should think about visiting First Unitarian Church sometime. I lead the rock band. Ever plan on having children?
I hope to, but I don't know.
Me neither, I guess I have to be the right person. If you do have children, let them lie to you once in a while. It's good for them. What?
Nothing, just, you're getting wise in your old age, sweet baby Dottie. I don't care what the other kids say about you.
Not really. I just decided to try and love everyone. I'm not sure that's wise at all. Dad? I'm leaving. I know you can't speak to me, but before I go, would it be alright if I walked you home?
End of scene. Scene 7. The Bowman house, sunset after dinner. Amos gathers the dishes while Miriam is finishing feeding Clay. Gideon is seated, trying to avoid looking at Clay.
Well, I thought it was a lovely service.
I never thought you'd want to be minister, Amos.
Yes, the Lord works in mysterious ways. You remember the money I gave you when you left?
You mean the money that saved my life? Yes, I remember.
Well, my dad figured out I'd been stealing from him, but he didn't get angry. He actually praised me for my ingenuity. Then, when it got out that I'd given money to you, everyone kept talking about my generosity. After that, my reputation started changing.
I helped with that.
She sure did. Then, when Miriam and I got engaged, she encouraged me to follow in your footsteps and become a minister.
Turned out everyone was pretty sick of Brother Garber's fire and brimstone.
I've stayed off the elders' council, though. I'm happy to focus on the day-to-day, leave those things to Miriam. Besides, all I ever heard from my dad is how much he hated attending those meetings. But I do worry, dear, that you are stretching yourself too thin.
Oh, hush you.
Amos chuckles and exits with the dishes.
I hardly even recognize you, sister.
Well, can you see it in me now, brother?
See what?
My light. God's light in me.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Well, probably a silly thing to ask. I had Amos speak to Brother Garber about your things. The soonest we can get them to you is tomorrow morning.
Well, thanks for trying. I'll be leaving then anyway.
Tomorrow? Are you sure?
Yeah, I gotta get back.
Well, hold on a sec. I'd like to read you something.
Miriam wheels Clay into his bedroom, exiting.
This is Father's journal.
His journal, should you be reading it?
No, he doesn't mind. Listen to this. October 16th, 2004. Esther has given birth. I always thought our child would be a boy, while Esther was convinced it would be a girl. In the end, we were both right and wrong, as so often happens. Esther's pregnancy has been a difficult one, and her refusal to seek medical care from the outside world has worried me to no end. We only had Sister Garber to help with the delivery, but not even a half hour after Esther went into labor, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. I was overjoyed, not to mention greatly relieved, but Esther's pains didn't stop. Instead, they worsened. We soon realized she was still in labor. After 17 brutal hours, she finally gave birth to a second child, a baby girl. The child was born with the membrane still stretched across her face. Sister Garber and some of the other Willamites believe children of childbirths to be cursed. I tried to assure her that the child is harmless, but I'm afraid these old superstitions don't die so easily. Still, Esther and I rejoice in the bounty of our two children. The life they've been born into is not an easy one. My prayer is that each twin will be a blessing to the other and that they'll be able to lean on one another in times of need. As iron sharpens iron, may Gideon sharpen Miriam, and Miriam, Gideon. Isn't that beautiful?
It's very sweet.
When I was younger, I would picture my life. It was always me, standing alone. But these last few years, I've realized that whatever I accomplish in God's name, it's all cut out in half if you're not here to witness it. We're meant to be around each other. Willems is changing, brother. Brother Garber will soon be bedridden. His kind, they're dying out. It's exactly what I prayed for.
Miriam.
You know I'm right, Amos. But what Amos said is true. My energy is failing me. I've been doing my daily chores, attending all the elder meetings, and teaching school while Ruth grieves. Who knows when she'll be ready to return, if ever. Amos helps where he can, but we can't do it all on our own. We need you. The future of Willems hangs on these next few months. Would you consider staying?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about it.
Please do. You've lived among the outsiders, just like Father. We can use that knowledge. We know what's wrong with Willems. We lived it. That means we can fix it. We can change the curriculum, the ordnung, the whole culture. Imagine us running this place, the glory of it. Brother, if we work together, we can save all the horses.
Like I said, I'll think about it.
Of course. Thank you.
Gideon, you wanted to speak with me alone?
Oh, what I meant was, I thought we could.
Why? Is there something you can't say in front of me? Oh, I'm joking, of course. You two should absolutely catch up. I am about to keel over anyway. I'll see you in the morning, brother. We'll try and find time to play cards.
Well, your mind, brother?
A lot. This is really not the day to go off my meds. I mean, seeing my father like that,
Yes, it really is awful.
he needs to see a doctor, like yesterday.
Mary won't go along with that, I can tell you right now.
Well, then we have to convince her.
Good luck. Have you ever seen her change her mind about anything?
No. I wanted to talk about you, Amos. How are you, really?
Great. What do you mean?
It feels like you aren't Amos anymore.
Who else would I be? It's true that I've changed, thank the Lord. I don't like remembering who I used to be. I have God and Miriam to thank for setting me straight. And you, of course.
But I liked the person you used to be. I missed him terribly, and now you're... Are you happy with Miriam? I'm allowed to ask that. She's my twin sister, you're my best friend.
Of course, I'm happy. The Lord has blessed me more than I deserve with Marion.
Jesus Christ, Amos, if you say the Lord one more time, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Gideon, please don't blaspheme in this house.
Listen to me, Amos, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for what I did to you.
What you did?
The week I left, when you told me about your urges, you trusted me, and I rebuked you for it. I was wrong, all the way wrong. Every day, I have to live with the fact that the worst thing I ever did, I did to my best friend.
You are talking about when I mentioned men kissing other men.
Yes. Can you ever forgive me?
Forgive you, Gideon. You saved me.
No,
I was heading down a dark path, but you set me right. Who knows where I'd be if not for your righteousness?
It wasn't righteous, it was hateful.
I know they probably think of things differently on the outside, and I'm sorry if you beat yourself up over this, but really it is not necessary. I'm fine. The truth is, you and Miriam have always had all this angst in you that I just never have. Here in Willems, I'm safe. And nobody will feel unhappy, okay?
No, it's not okay.
Well, that's something. That really is something to me. You know, because before, when I told you what I told you, that wasn't okay, so I repented. I did what you told me to do, brother. But it turns out that's not okay either. Now, I know you just got back and everything, but please, Gid, tell me, how should I live my life? Huh? In fact, why don't you write it down for me? That way I can fold it up, turn it sideways, and stick it up. I should not be talking about this. I'm sorry. It is ungodly. Forgive me.
Don't apologize. I'm glad to hear it. Do you ever visit the city anymore?
No, not for years now.
What'd you think about it? I can show you around.
That wouldn't be good for me.
Please, I can't stand it. I don't know if I'll ever really fit in on the outside, but the Amos I knew, he'd be perfect. You're so fucking great, man. I can't
Gideon,
just
tell me, are you really still a believer?
I'm gonna show you something. It'll be quick.
Cell phone, is that yours? What's that?
Gideon's phone begins playing Richard Pryor, NBC comedy special.
It's him, Amos. It's Richard Pryor.
Turn that off, Gideon, please.
It's okay, it's just a stand-up special.
Turn it off. You can't show me that, Gideon. I know what you're trying to do, but I put all that behind me. Anyway, I've already seen that video of a guy the store could play it on his television. I watched it probably 10 times. I don't need to see it ever again.
Well, which one did you see? He did like 6 different specials.
He did?
Sure. And there are others like him too. They're called stand-up comedians. They live their lives making people laugh. Well, if they're good enough. It's hard work.
Really? I confess, I used to have this childish dream. Okay, one day I would meet Richard Pryor, by accident, of course. And maybe I'd say something to make him laugh.
Well, he passed away.
He's dead?
Yeah, for a while now. It was December 05.
That means he died before I was even born.
Yeah.
Well, guess I'm glad I know that.
Gideon sets his phone face up on the table.
I'm gonna leave this here for you for a bit. You can tap the screen to watch it if you want. Or we're not. I'm not forcing you into anything. Not anymore. I went to therapy on the outside. We would talk about my life in here, so we talked about you a lot, naturally. I always loved describing you to my therapist.
I can only imagine what that sounded like. How you would describe me. Probably like some kind of wild animal.
No, nothing like that. Mostly, I'd say he's the funniest person I ever knew.
Gideon exits. Amos stares at the cell phone like it's a coiled snake. End of scene. Scene 8. The Bowman house, 3 a.m. The stage is dark, but we can make out Gideon's phone still on the table, turned on its face. Gideon enters, sneaking. He grabs his phone off the table. He uses his phone's flashlight and exits into Clay's bedroom. We hear some rummaging. Gideon enters, pushing Clay in his wheelchair, still using the flashlight.
It's gonna be okay.
Gideon?
Miriam lights a lantern, revealing herself sitting in a corner of the room.
It's almost morning. What are you doing?
Go to bed, Miriam.
I couldn't sleep. Why is father in his chair?
He needs medical attention. I'm gonna get him looked at.
You can't do that.
I'm not arguing with you.
Gideon tries to push Clay, but Miriam stands in his way. Gideon tries to push past her, but she blocks him.
Be careful.
Stop it. What is wrong with you?
He's catatonic, Miriam. He needs a CT scan, an MRI, something.
But that's not what he wants.
How do you know? He can't even speak.
These are his wishes. You remember what happened with Mother. You remember what he said about
It
it.
doesn't matter. He didn't know any better.
Oh, of course he did.
No, he's brainwashed, Miriam.
Brainwashed?
Yes, how else could a man of his intelligence, of his education level, choose this?
You know that he views medical issues.
I mean, this whole life. I looked him up when I was on the outside. He was an English teacher with degrees in English and history. Yet he still chose to live here. Why? He just uncritically accepted all this bullshit. And for what?
Don't move.
She sprints to Clay's room. Before Gideon can get Clay out the door, she sprints back in with one of Clay's journals and blocks Gideon's path.
You think he wasn't critical? You have no idea. Listen to this. April 4th, 2017. Esther's symptoms are growing worse.
Don't read it right in front of him, God.
It doesn't make any difference.
Yes,
Gideon.
it does.
Oh, for the love of... Are you satisfied?
She wheels Clay out of their way in front of the window.
Oh, Miriam, Jesus.
Just listen. I have begged her to seek outside care, but she refuses. I want her here with me and the children on this side of heaven, and I know chemotherapy would help her chances of survival. But is there more to life than mere survival? What do we do when living for something might mean dying? I can only hope the Lord would grant me her same courage, where the roles reverse.
But that's insanity. You said you want to change this place? Why don't you start by seeking real medical care?
I would encourage everyone in Willens to seek whatever medical care they see fit, but not him, Gideon. Father prayed to have our mother's courage, and now, thanks to me, he does.
I don't care if he prayed. He was deluded. Why else would he leave us in the dark all those years, knowing what he did?
This is from the week before you left. Gideon, my lighthouse. How can I deny you the very knowledge I myself hungered for? Miriam, my stormy sea. How can I rebuke you for my same ambitions? But did pursuing these pleasures ever sate me? Perhaps momentarily. But ultimately they only complicated things and led me away from you. I must spare my beloved children from these
You're not impressing me, Miriam. You're proving my point. You can't possibly agree with all that.
Who's saying I do? If Amos and I have children, I'll probably do it differently. But if you're saying our father acted thoughtlessly, he did not. Where is your sympathy for him? We all wrestle with the Savior. Well, don't you?
No, I don't.
Are you not a Christian anymore?
Miriam, if you could see the outside world, you'd understand. There's so much more out there. I could show you and Amos both if you'd let me. This place, it's vile. It's a patriarchal, theocratic hellscape.
You don't feel God's love?
Are you listening to me? This place is evil. Why am I telling you this? You know what they do, how they oppress everyone, women most of all.
But idiot, we choose to be here. We all make sacrifices, men and women alike. That's what
It's senseless. It's pain for pain's own sake. Look at Arletta. How do you think she died?
I don't know. Ruth asked us to respect their privacy.
She was huffing paint. She couldn't survive the torture of living
I
here.
don't claim to know what was going on in Arletta's head, but you already know I don't agree with Ruth's methods or the other elders. That's why we need to fix this place.
There's no fixing it. These people, they're killers. They killed our mother.
What are you talking about? Our mother made a choice.
No, she got breast cancer. Which, by the way, Miriam, the gene for that is hereditary. And she gave up. You said it yourself. And everyone just let it happen. They almost killed me, too.
Who almost killed you?
All of you. You shunned me. What did you think would happen? I was all alone.
I am sorry, brother. But I prayed every day that God would protect you, and here you are. He kept you safe from me.
You prayed for me? You're the one who started it all in the first place. You! You stole my sketchbook, and you never even admitted it.
I admit it.
Oh, just like that.
Yes, what I did was wrong. But I was a child. We both were. I didn't know how it would hurt you. The elders weren't trying to hurt you either. They were trying to save your soul.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Miriam, you really think that Brother Garber was worried about my soul?
Do you really think our father wasn't? He loved you. He loves you. Love can look so many different ways.
No, the damage, it's too much. That pain in your chest you always talked about, it's depression, Miriam. I have it too, like Mother had it. But they never gave us the words to fight it. He never gave us the words.
Then why is my pain gone, Gideon? Because now I walk in God's will. I feel his love every day. I am so sorry you don't anymore.
This is pointless. You're brainwashed too.
You are the one saying this place is all bad, that these people are all evil. Who's the brainwashed?
You have no concept. Your life is a delusion. You're married to Amos. Miriam, he's gay.
Oh, wow, really? Gideon? Not like I've known that since we were 12 years old.
You knew?
Of course! But he made his choice, and I support him.
It's not a choice. What this place does to us is it makes us feel that deep down in our core, we're bad. All these years later, I still fight this feeling that there's something horrible inside of me.
But there is, Gideon. We are all fallen.
No, you can't do that to people. We need to be allowed to be ourselves. We make mistakes, but deep down, we're good. I'm a good person.
Are you listening to yourself?
You all might as well have stabbed me in the chest because I wouldn't lie and say Arletta wasn't communicating with me, and I was right. Ruth told me, and all those people, those liars, they kicked me out for it.
That is not why they kicked you out.
Yes, it is, all because I broke the lockstep. I wouldn't toe the party line.
The things you said about Arletta, that is why they shunned you. They kicked you out. But what happened after?
After?
In the forest. Are you gonna make me say it? Don't you remember?
Remember what?
Gideon, you attacked Arletta. You hurt her.
What? No, that's not right. I barely touched
I
her.
wasn't there, but I think you tried to strangle her. It was over a month before she could speak normally.
No, it wasn't like that. You're lying.
Don't you remember the marks on her neck? The way she covered them to protect you. Gideon.
No, I would never. I'm not that kind of person.
It was a terrible time, but you did it. You can't blame everyone else.
Oh, God, no!
Gideon sinks to the floor.
I'm sorry, Arletta, I'm so sorry. What's going on?
Not now, Amos. But I know what you're feeling, Gideon. You want forgiveness, don't you? You're afraid. God will forgive you, brother. Whatever you've done, all you have to do is ask.
I am afraid, sister, but not like that, not of hell. I wish I could still believe in the flames, but then I'd have to believe in God, and I can't. Ever again.
You can. He grants belief to those who seek it. That pain in your chest, it's the same as mine. He fixed me. He can do the same for you, right, Amos? Amos.
Right.
He's here in this room even now. He is calling you home. He has always been calling you home. You are meant to be here with us for all eternity.
No.
I still see his light in you, Gideon. It never went out in all your pain.
Stop it.
His will, it is inescapable.
Shut up!
Miriam takes Gideon's hands.
No, it's all right. No, pray with me, brother, that he will bring you near to him and never let you go.
I said no, please!
Merciful Savior!
Gideon pulls his hands away, horrified. Gideon picks up the lantern and sprints out the front door, exiting.
No! Ring the bell of alarm, Amos. He came here as an insurgent.
What?
Ring the bell, I said.
Just like that.
Hurry before he gets away.
Why don't we give him a head start?
Fine, I'll do it.
She tries to exit, but Amos blocks her path.
Move!
Just let him go!
No! He doesn't get to win!
He's not! He's leaving!
He can't just leave! Not again! He still hasn't seen it.
Seen what?
Ah!
What is wrong with you?
I don't know.
Slowly, an orange glow begins to coat the stage.
Father, what's wrong?
Amos looks out the window.
The church, it's catching fire. Must have been Gideon. What do we do? Stay inside. I guess I'll try.
Amos, he's in there.
What?
I can feel it. He is in there. Gideon!
The alarm bell sounds. The orange glow glows brighter and brighter. Blackout. End of scene. Epilogue. A recording of Dottie singing a cover of Casimir Pulaski Day by Sukyan Stevens plays during the following. Behold, the men and women of the Church of Willems early in the morning. The stage is still split in twain. The men labor outdoors on one side, while the women labor indoors on the other. And it comes to pass that Gideon sets aside his hoe, and Miriam sets aside her work in like manner. The two siblings gaze at one another from across the stage. Miriam turns her face from Gideon. The rest of the Church of Willems do the same, all but Clay and Amos. After a time, Clay turns his back as well. Gideon exits upstage, lost. Clay sinks to the earth and is still. Miriam leaves the indoor and goes to Clay, picking up his tools and standing in his stead. Amos goes to Miriam and puts his arm in hers. Dottie stands. The Church of Willems turns away from her, except for Arletta and Brother Garber. After a time, Brother Garber turns his back as well. Dottie exits upstage in the same manner as Gideon. Arletta watches her go. Arletta stands. The Church of Willems doesn't respond. Slowly, Arletta walks downstage and exits through the audience, her face betraying nothing. Ruth sinks to the floor and is still. Miriam crosses to Ruth and picks up her knitting. She stands downstage center between the indoors and the outdoors, holding both the tools and the knitting, her arms still linked with Amos's. Dottie enters and stands center stage. Gideon enters behind her and joins her. Dottie goes to Brother Garber and puts a hand on his shoulder. Then she exits upstage, her head held high. Miriam and Amos turn to Gideon. The three stare at one another. Then Gideon slowly walks past them downstage, following Arletta through the audience, shaking his head. Miriam and Amos watch Gideon's exit in shock. They look to one another. Amos unlinks his arm from Miriam's. He goes to exit upstage, but looks back at Miriam, inviting her to follow. Miriam doesn't move. Amos exits upstage alone, searching for something new. Miriam surveys the remnants of the Church of Willems. She considers following Amos, but stops. She considers staying where she is, but is restless. Suddenly, she clutches at her chest, where an old pain returns. Miriam looks out at the audience, seeking some final word. Lights fade. End of play.
wolf.